Paul Romero. Oh, there we go. Good morning, everybody. This is Paul Romero with the Sell a House Wholesale Real Estate Training, number 81 on 2/16, February 2015. New Op Day. Yes. Give me 1 second here. I can't do two things at once. I'm sorry. I'm the worst. I am the worst. Why would that be? Whatever. I am the worst multitasker. I can't have words coming out of my mouth while my hands are doing something else. Quite honestly, it's hard for me to have words coming out of my mouth and have my brain working at the same time, which is what makes conversation a little bit difficult for me at times. This is the this is part of why I'm doing these hangouts. This is very good training for me to get better at, thinking and talking at the same time. Most people would think like, what the heck? What is he talking about? Thinking and talking at the same time. How difficult is that? I mean, you do that automatically. For a lot of people, that's a gift. That's something that's a piece of cake. There's no problem. Their mouth just goes and goes and goes and goes, and their mind is just feeding, and a lot of times, some of that is not actual thinking, but it's just your mind feeding sputum out of your mouth, and your mouth just lets it go. But that's for another story. So I'm not really sure where I was. I first of all, you know what? This is a holiday. It is President's Day, and just by the first few hours of my morning here, I'm going to tell you guys, fair warning, this day is going to fly by. Be careful. Uh, you're going to blink your eye and this day is going to be over. It's one of those days, time is just zipping past. So just try to make the best of it. Try to enjoy it, but it's going to be over before you know it. And you're out there on a holiday. No work today. Well, for some, it'd be a no work today. If you work for the banks or the government or who else? The banks or the government, I guess. Yeah, probably most corporations are closed today because banks and government are shut down, so a lot of work can't get done. But a lot of you are out there actually having to work. A lot of you who are in the service industry are out there having to work today because, all those people that are off, that works in the banks and the government and the big corporations who are off, well, they're out today running around while you are still having to work because somebody's got to serve these people their lunch and be at the convenience store or the grocery store or at the retail stores or wherever these people are going, at the golf course, at the yacht club, at the marina, wherever all these people who have this day off are going. A lot of you still have to be out there in your job working on this holiday to serve these people. That's something that you might want to think about. Service work means working when everyone else has the time off. Now, does the fact that these guys who work in these other locations, in these other industries, doctors, attorneys, maybe not all doctors, but most doctors, attorneys, medical is kind of a service industry. You got to be careful with that one. But, accountants, it's tax season, they might not be taking the day off, but you get the picture. Certain people have this day off and certain people don't. And just because they have the day off doesn't make them better than you, because quite honestly, they're still in a job also. They still have, they might call it a career or a field of study or whatever they want to call it, but it's still, for most of them, there's more people in these areas who are actual sort of business owners that don't necessarily have to be at work all the time, have a lot more time freedom than the rest, but for the most part, they're still employees. They're still working for somebody else. They still have jobs, just like you have jobs. Their jobs allow them to have these holidays off, where your jobs force you to be there to serve the people who have the holidays off. So, like I said, it doesn't really necessarily make them any better than you. Their jobs, are they better than yours? I'll go as far as to say probably yes, because for two reasons. Number one, they probably pay better. So, and number two, it's probably something that they enjoy to a certain extent. If they've taken the time to go to school and study and learn about a certain field and go out and get a job in that field, to a certain extent, it's got to be something that they enjoy. Now, not necessarily always. Some people go through that whole thing, get into their job, and realize that they can't stand it, but that's another story as well, too. So, but for the most part, something they enjoy. For you guys in the service industry, for the most part, people in the service industry, for the most part, don't really enjoy their jobs. Unless, now, if you're in management levels of service industry, if you have gone to school to a certain extent and did some studies and learned how to get into the management levels of the service industry, then, this very well could be a job that you enjoy. And in reality, a lot of people actually do enjoy their service industry job. I mean, a lot of bartenders love their job. But there's also a lot of people in the service industry because it's the only job they can get. If you don't have a lot of education, if you didn't go to college and study and to go into some specific field or into management levels of something, the service industry, flipping burgers or waiting tables or, cleaning rooms or, whatever the case might be, or even just, cashiering at the grocery store, or, they don't have to be food and hotel and service industry jobs. Like I said, cashiering at the grocery store or greeting at Walmart or selling, wares at the, Bed Bath and Beyond, all service industry jobs. These are the kind of jobs that you can get. These are the only kinds of jobs that you can get because of the lack of the education and all that. So again, you might like your job to a certain extent wherever you are, service industry side or professional side. But the whole thing is doesn't matter what side you're on. The key thing here to remember is that your income is capped. You can only ever make so much money. Even if you're in the professional side, or even if you're in the service industry side, and you can see that, hey, I've started right here, and all I got to do is work a little bit harder and I can get to here, and a little bit harder and I can get to here. Well, you can do that so many times, and you can only get so far. And you start here, and let's say you're making 15. Your job description says you will earn, $12,000 to $15,000 a year. You go, well, hey, I can improve my income if I, can study and work hard and get to this level here, where the pay rate is now $14,000 to $17,000. Starting pay is $14,000 to $17,000. You may have to go up, and you might even actually have to take a step down to get the advancement before you can go up higher again. Crazy systems, but you can advance, you can increase your pay, but still it's capped. You move up to that level, you can only, you're only going to ever make between these amounts, between $14,000 and $17,000 a year, or whether it's between $50,000 and $60,000 a year. It's still capped. If you're at this level, that's what you can make. That's it. You have a cap on your income. That's a serious problem, because what happens is people are at one level and they say, if I can accelerate to this level, my life will be better because I'll have all this extra income. Well, they go and they strive and they achieve their goal and they get to the next level and they have this extra income. And instead of improving their life the way that they should be doing it by utilizing this extra income to create a passive income, They go out and they spend more money. They buy more stuff. They create more debt. They trade in their old stuff for more expensive stuff. They increase their debt. They stay in the same exact situation. They just elevated their things. They just shined up their things. They just got new things. But yet their life is the same. It hasn't improved. It feels like it improved because you have new things, but you're in the same financial position because every bit of the money that's coming in now has to go out to pay for all these things. See, whether you go out and get your job because you don't have the education, the upper level education, or whether you went and got the upper level education, the problem is no one ever taught you the purpose of getting a job. Why do you go out to get a job? No one ever taught you that. And it's not to make money, to live. That's not the purpose that you have to go out and get a job. It's part of the purpose. You have to do that. You need to make money so that you can live, somewhere besides a box under the freeway. You got to make some money if you want to avoid that. But, to live in a house or an apartment or whatever, to live in a shelter and actually have money to, be able to maybe have a vehicle. Maybe you choose not to have a vehicle. Today's world, a lot of people don't. But to have food on the table, to have couches to sit on, to have a TV to watch once in a while when you need a break and you want to do some brain wasting time. All these things, you got to have some money for all that. But the purpose of your job is to be able to do all of that and create an excess. Your job should be creating you an excess of money. And the purpose of that excess money is not to go run around town spending it on food and entertainment and fancy things and silly devices and downloading songs and paying for videos and whatever it is that we spend our money on is ridiculous to me. I can't believe how full the mall was yesterday when I was riding my bike past there, but that's another story. Anyway, the purpose of this extra income that you have, you have this much income, this much of it right here, you need to live off of. This much of it over here, what are you supposed to do with that? Sure, you got to have a little bit of entertainment. You got to do a little bit of fun. So you have to take a little portion of that and use it for that, but that still leaves some extra left over there. And the purpose of that extra, the reason why you have this job is to take that extra money and save it up until it's large enough that you can invest it in something. So that now that money can go to work for you in something that's earning you some income. So you don't have to go out and trade more of your time, because most people look at, hey, we're here, we got this much to be paid off, we're only getting paid this much, how are we going to fill this gap over here? Well, we're going to have to get another job to have more income. That's the mistake. That's the mentality that the system teaches us, because we're taught everything we know from the time we're born until the time we go to work. We're taught everything we know by people who are employees. And I'll tell you right now, a lot of the people that you might say, well, I know a lot of people who own businesses. Think about it. Do they own businesses that they don't have to go to every day and make sure it's running? Because that's a business owner. It's somebody that has a business that pretty much runs on its own while they're out playing golf or doing something else. That's a business owner, okay? Somebody that has to go to their business every day, physically be there every day to make sure that it's running, that all the things are going right, that's a self-employed person. That is not a business owner. That's the owner of a job. That is a person who is the owner of a business, but is their number one paid employee. They own their own job. They're employed. So we have been taught all of our lives by people who are employees. And if you've been taught by employees, what can they teach you how to be? They can teach you how to become an employee. Potentially, maybe how to become a good employee. But that's it. So when you get out into the real world and you get your job and you start working and you don't know what you're supposed to do with this extra money, so you're out there blowing it on the weekends like everybody else, running around spending your money on stupid crap you don't need. And then you find that by doing that, you've actually created some debt and your bills have grown beyond your income. And now you have a problem because now you need more income. And the only thing you know how to do is go, wow, I got to get another job to cover all this debt, to make up this gap that I've created between what I make and what I have to pay out. I need another job. If you were doing things right and you had been saving that money for an investment, at this point in time, maybe you did screw up a little bit. Maybe you did build up some little debt. Maybe you did get your expenses overextended over your income, but you had saved this excess money for so long, you can go, well, wait a second. I don't necessarily have to get a job. I can take this money and I can invest it over here. And if I invest it over here, it's going to create a cash flow for me of X amount, which happens to cover the excess that I'm short. I don't have to get another job. I need to invest this money in something. That's the purpose of your job. And if you're not screwing up and you're continually having that excess money and you're continually putting it away and it's creating extra income for you, you start circulating that. At first, you got to not fall to the temptation of using that extra income. You want to circulate it back into the rotation so that it grows and expands your investment capital higher so that you can create more income faster, so that eventually the income that you're creating through your investments can replace you in your job, at least to a certain extent, allow you to buy back some of your time freedom. Maybe you can get that investment income up to where you're created, say, I don't know, $1,000 a month in passive income. Well, maybe you say, wow, $1,000 a month, I only have to work 4 days a week now. That's huge. You bought back some of your time freedom. Time freedom is what this is all about. I know this doesn't really sound like a whole real estate investing format that I'm putting out here today, but real estate investing is, with the property noodler system, is one of the ways to generate capital, especially if you find yourself beyond the point of no return, so to speak, within your job. You've already become enslaved to it because your expenses are maxed out or even exceed your income. That's how you get enslaved into your job for your lifetime, is because you max out your earning capabilities with your spending, with your spending of your money, of your income. So the whole thing that I'm trying to get at here is there are ways other than your job that you need to be looking at to earn money. There's a numerous amount of ways. Everything's changed since the crash. Everything. Okay. If you deal with marketing, you know the internet is big. Internet marketing is a completely different animal from what marketing used to be. Business, the way you run business today, it's completely different from what was the crash was. There's a book called The Great Reset, and the crash was a great reset, and everything now has changed, and you need to adapt to this. But what you need to start thinking of is creating passive income, creating cash flow, putting your money into, not spending your money on depreciating assets like cars and televisions and things like that, that you pay X amount for it today, and tomorrow it's worth less, and the next day it's worth less and less and less and less, and as it becomes less, as its value shrinks, you're still paying on it. That's debt. That's bad. That's the problem. Okay, you need to think about putting your money into places where, as time goes by, this grows in value. because whatever it does, it gets bigger and it becomes worth more. So not only is it not going down in value over time to where eventually it's a worthless pile of nothing, it's increasing in value. So eventually it's worth more than what you actually paid for it. And preferably along the way, it's giving you cash month after month. That's what your money is for. That's what your job is for you to make extra money to put it towards that, not to put it towards cars and TVs and fancier cars and TVs and all of those things. And spend your money and increase your, excess, increase your spending to exceed your earnings, which is what most people are doing. Again, property noodlers, flipping wholesale real estate is one way to get you out of the trap quickly, because that's what you need. Because right now, if you consider this, the amount of time that you spend sleeping in a 24-hour day, the amount of time that you spend sleeping, the amount of time that you spend commuting to work, the amount of time that you spend at work, at your job, trading your time for money that someone else has said, you know, your value, this is the sad part. Someone else has told you this is all you're worth. 15 bucks an hour, that's your value to this planet. Are you serious? Do you really? Wouldn't you rather be paid for your production opposed to your time spent? I mean, your value could certainly increase a whole lot. You don't need someone else telling you what your value is. Only you can determine what your value is, okay? And trust me, it's worth a lot more than 15 bucks an hour. So anyway, uh, where was I going there? Oh, the wholesale real estate, the whole different opportunities that are out there. You need something that, when you're trapped in that position. Oh, I know where I was going. Um, gosh, you take out the time for sleeping, commuting, the time that you spend at work at your job, and you take out the time that you spend running around all day doing all the things that you have to do, because there's a lot of things that you have to do, right? I mean, you wake up in the morning, you look at your have to do list, right? I have to do all these things. That's a big long list, as long as your arm, right? And then you pick up your other list that says I want to, and hopefully there's at least something on there. But for most people, yeah, that's oftentimes a blank page. I wanted, or either that, or it's a big long page, but it's like a big page of dreams. I want to do all these things that I know I'll never be able to do, because I have to do all these things and I don't have any time. And even if I did have the time, that's the thing that where I was going next. You look at the fact that sleeping time, commuting time, working time, running around, have to do things time, take all of that out of your 24-hour day, and most people have 1, maybe 2 hours to do the things that they want or like to do. And you know what the thing is even if they had more than just that little piece of time to do it, do they have the money to? Probably not. If if you were to go to most people and say, hey, you know what? You got 4 hours tomorrow to do whatever you want. What are they going to end up doing? They don't have any money. They're going to end up sitting there watching TV or something, probably. Going down to the corner and getting a couple 40s and sitting in the yard and slamming them down because they got no money, and that's the only thing that they can do with the 4 hours of freedom that you just gave them. To buy back your time, you need money. Money is important where money is important, and money is important in buying back your time. Your time is your freedom, and your freedom is what you're after here. Flipping wholesale real estate, along with a plethora of other things, there's a lot of ways to very quickly start generating capital to help you start buying back your time in small increments. Wholesale real estate can help you buy your time back in, a little bit larger increments, because when you flip a house, you can have the potential to make a good amount of money, and you can make big moves quicker than with some of the other things where you have to build some momentum first, but they can take off very quickly. But it starts off slower with smaller, 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 and they grow. Whatever you're doing, I can guarantee you, You're trapped, you're enslaved, and you need a way out. And you need to think about creating passive income by investing your money and not spending it on frivolous nothingness. I invite you to send an email to propertynoodlers@gmail.com. Even if you're not interested in wholesale real estate, if you're looking for anything, or if you know anybody who's looking to earn some extra money, who needs to earn some extra money, who wants to earn some extra money, who maybe wants to start a little business on the side to start earning some extra money, whatever the case is, that's what we're all about. And we have some different opportunities besides wholesale real estate that might be of interest to you. Send us an email. Say, hey man, very interested in earning some extra money. Let's talk. And we'll talk. And we'll see what we can do for you. So, but property noodlers, wholesaling, that's what this is all about here. Anything that you're seriously interested in, give us a call. Love to help you get started in that as well too. So with that, everybody, think about your job. Think about the cap on your income. Think about what you're spending your money on. Think about what you should be spending your money on. Think about how in the heck could I create money coming in? How can I use my money to create money coming in? By the way, that's called passive income. And what I like to use as the definition of passive income is do something once and get paid forever. Imagine if you were an auto mechanic, and if for every brake job you did, you were for the rest of your life to receive $1 a month. How many brake jobs could you do? And how many dollars could you build that up to where eventually you wouldn't have to do any more brake jobs, right? Wouldn't take that long. I don't know. Do the math on it. Do 10 brake jobs. Do I don't know. Maybe do 3 brake jobs a day for 30 days. That's 90 brake jobs. That's $90 a month. Wouldn't take a whole lot of time to do a bunch of brake jobs to be able to replace your income, and you didn't have to do any brake jobs. That's how passive income works. Do something once, get paid forever. That's what you want to create in your life. So with that, I invite you to send me an email. Send us an email. John's not here today. He had a grand plan to be here this morning without the kids. That backfired on him. But he'll be here on Wednesday, I'm sure. I'll be back on Wednesday. And in the meantime, we're going to ask for the universe to give us not more riches, but for more wisdom with which to make better use of the riches given to us at birth, consisting of the power to control and direct my own mind to whatever end I might desire. All right, everybody, good luck. If you're off or you're working, whichever the case might be, think about passive income today, and think about propertynoodlers@gmail.com and sending us an email.